南无曼珠悉耶，南无梭悉耶，南无南无悉耶梭哈，南无曼珠悉耶，
月夜那
南无
么
梭悉耶，南
那
无南无悉耶梭哈，
哦
南无曼珠悉耶，南无
那么
梭悉耶，南
那么
无南无悉耶梭哈。
啊，上去接到中间就拿了，讲究跑到当年讲中间，大概解决区别从南京着了北京上天珠宝，上街就到中间就拿了，讲究跑到当年讲中间，大概解决区别从南着了北京上天珠宝，就上街就到中间就拿了，讲究跑到当年就。大概这边从南京到了北京三千六百学啥些北京小姐妹多的，日日领先能的，上街看到们的不印度给南大看到这把就一当我到了那面到了，你呀大呀你，当我就公共街上进的，就是第三条车送。那讲到是些长期的上级就恐怕都把第一级的，但讲究让人的推行，让人推行的心呢，这是些了偏把这个啥都是可能这样让进的。
So today is a bit late already, so I'll go straight to setting a good motivation. For the sake of all mother sentient beings, I will achieve the state of enlightenment. For this purpose, I'm going to receive the holy teachings and practice accordingly in order to benefit sentient beings.
我也 thank you，那这
Thank
里
you.
这里这个人的，
That's all.
我也，也，那这里我就开始嘛写的，以前写的嘛，现在个把嘛写的写了哇，那的嘛写的，以前当不嘛，我这讲的。现在当不呢了，认定就比些。第爸爸爱告诉，他送把呢，等把把说，切进就比些。他结把了切把没办就比些，我把了做没办就比些些，对嘛我下进的想法哇，他当不对嘛我这些哇。
So previously, we talked about nine mental abidings, and then we also talk about nine mental abidings involves four attentions as well. So these four attentions, the four attentions are tight engagement, interrupted engagement, uninterrupted engagement, and effortless engagement. So first two mental abidings involves tight engagement, and the middle five mental abidings, which is from the third up to the seventh, involves the second attention, which is called interrupted engagement. And number 8, mental abiding, single pointedness, involves uninterrupted engagement. And the last one, even placement, involves effortless engagement.
当不呢我说，先当不呢了，认定就比些些，得加个哇。他得加的看到，先当不呢就告诉别，我说别。定义的那你就那里边，那也边修全部，新的往当中修全部是不是生产？但第一个是俺把的生，人口啊给全部生产，第二呢，看到生真正就比一些是家的军生了都是来是吧？生当不你讲的头嘛俺说，定义的王八了看到，但新的往当中啊的忙不修啊生产，但定义的了你嘛都白，等这些干业要生产，这头嘛真正就比一些是家国军生的人多。
So what is the reasons of saying that the first two mental abidings involves the first attentions, which is called tight engagement, is because when we are on the first two mental abidings, our concentrations versus our distractions due to laxity and excitement, our distractions due to laxity and excitement is much longer. So most of our time when we do concentrations, and our concentration is mostly affected by laxity and excitement. So we are distracted by laxity and excitement. So especially during the first two mental abidings, we must tighten our concentration or tighten our mind. Therefore, this is why it says the first two mental abidings involves tight engagement.
Somebody dimba bado da ngaba baba ngatela ganda chijinju biji jangwa da ti jagwe junsen de ngaso sin somebody ngaba bado ya tingenzila nyamba ju shingale ya paru paru la shingele ya tingenzila sun nyamba ji ya paru paru la shingele da tusa ganda ya shingeda ya tingenzila pa nyamba ji ya paru la shingele tendi chiwa sunza da tingenzila ta chi de pe tendi shinge meba da chawu yo mare de macha sunza de parula tingenzila juishin juya shingele ba ya tingenzila juishin juya paru shingele de chishin jubi jese jagwa junse de redwa.
And why the middle five mental abidings, which is from number third up to number 3 up to number 7 mental abidings, involves the second attention, which is called interrupted engagement, is because at that point, when we are on that mental abidings, our mind enters concentration. So while engaging in concentrations, then sometimes you are affected by, sometimes we are distracted by laxity and excitement. Then we pull our mind back and engage our mind, or bring our mind back to concentrations again. So our mind is occasionally affected by distractions due to laxity and excitement. So basically, interrupted or distracted by laxity and excitement, therefore it's called interrupted engagement. So we enter concentrations, and then after some time, then we are interrupted by distractions due to laxity and excitement. Then and our mind enters concentration again. Then again interrupted by distractions due to laxity and excitement. Therefore, it's called interrupted engagement.
Lati jese ngaso sini jeba la kanda di cheba mi binju yiri sini jeba la shawarwa ta sini jeba de la cheba mi binju biji la gwa dense de sini jeba ka sa ta shingi ji ba du ji mani ba jin rumbo pe tingin la de tu yores jin rumbo ji la tingin la de tu asungza ta de ka sa ta kanda cheba mi ba tingin la jin rumbo de tu yores kanda de wa de na da wo wo de tu asungza. And
number 8, mental abiding single pointedness involves the third attention, which is called uninterrupted engagement, because at that point of when we are on that mental abiding, we are not interrupted, or laxity and excitement cannot interrupt our concentration. So we can stay in concentration for a long time. So we can engage in the objects of observations uninterruptedly. Therefore, is called uninterrupted engagement, or it involves uninterrupted engagement.
That's in Gobatala answer so me banjubi is the Jaguar Sini Gobatala. That the Jaguar you see the Sini Jebagasa, that was a Toma Pating in the Namba Shag and Bezo Jitene, the Judan also Bezo Ting in the Namba Shibal and Bezo Guma Resego. That's why you married so maybe to be Jesna. Then Bezo me but they can't think in the Laka, number shot and be million Lugutoni to number shot to your Resego. Dear to us, that's why me banjubi Jesse, a Jaguar Jesse to Seresias.
And number 9 mental abiding is called even placement, and it involves effortless engagement. So it's called effortless engagement is because at first we direct our mind, we have the motivations of directing our mind to the object of observations. Then our mind stays in concentrations on the objects of observations effortlessly. So therefore it's called effortless engagement or spontaneous engagement.
Dilman to Topa Ligorda, Topa Nota, Topa Gugundua, that Topa Garrigasna, Manzosini, Tambonijika, Chipala, Chijin Jupala, Chijin Jupa Yoris, the Sini Tambonjikas Roa, that do win any such in Yora, Sini Tambola, Chijin Jupa the Yoris, Baba Nazakas, Diguba the Yoris, Yordina Tambona Chijin Jubi, Yopa Manchilla, Baba Nala Dindin Jubi, Yopa Manchipa the Carres, that the Topa the Kilroa.
Yeah, so as I mentioned just now, during the nine mental abiding even placement, then one's mind can stay in concentrations effortlessly and spontaneously. Therefore, it's called effortless engagement. So there is a questions or there is a qualms. So qualms in our text it says someone might ask. So this talks about the qualms. So someone might ask, well, there is interrupted engagement at the time of the first and second mental states, and there is also a need to tighten the mind at the time of the five intermediate mental states. So why is it that the first and second are not said to have attentions of interrupted engagement, and the five in between are not said to have the attentions of tight engagement?
sine tambo ni ji ka so kanda chi ju be je na che ba yore si yo ba yore ro baba nga so ding ba da yore chi da yore na yo ba chi ba re da gres ro da gres da tambo le de mi da tambo man de shi ma se bo chi so yi ro le de je ma ro le de je anda se tambo ni ji ka so tambo jaya da ka na ding de ju be je de ja ba re baba nga la chi ju be je de ja ba re ni na tambo ni ji ka so nga so chi ju ba de yi je de yore na yo da yore
치진주바 요를 알지라.
치진주바 요레스 세 당번이 가서 야 치진주바 이제 요레스네 요레스 다 바바 가서 딩크바디 요레스네 딩크비 이제 요레스 요리데 다 되니까 가서 배 조이 왕의 신이 다 타니다 미토마토 주고네 다만 레드마 월 레고도와 지다 요바의 지바리에스 다 조이 왕다 조 자고야 진다 다 타니 좀만 주 왕이 된디기 쳐바시 다 레드 절마 쇼그로와
당분이랑 바방가이나 제 딘데 줌바당 치진 주바 니가 요를 와이지라.
요바 지반 라그레스 요반 라와레스 고당 간다 자즈 로가 자로와 라그레스 세 당본이 자드 딘데 주비제 자르데 이나 세 당본이 가서 치진 주비제 요레스나 요레스 바방가스 가서 치진 주비제 자레 바방가라 딘데 주비제 요레스나 데 요레스 디 요반 라그레스 라그레데 다 자야다 마 조타 하니 왕기 데마 아두스 조진에 자바레스 티게제 시고로다 레도 월마 레그로와.
Yeah, so when we talk about the first two mental abidings, then it involves tight engagement, right? So if someone asks, does the first two mental abidings involve interrupted engagement or not? Yes, it involves interrupted engagement as well. So then we say that the middle five mental abidings, which is from number 3 up to number 7, then they involve interrupted engagement. So if someone asks, do they involve the tight engagement as well? And the answer is yes. So however, then someone might think that why they are not given the name, like for example, the first two mental abidings are not given are not said to have the interrupted engagement, and the middle five mental abidings are not said to have the tight engagement. So then the answer will come.
당아서 레조 들다 다 레조 간다 다 세담보니라 띵이즈라 세담보니라 딘데 주비제데 자고야 준세 들어와 세담보니라 딘데 주비제데 자고야 준세 가스나 세담보니라 띵이즈던 로와다 먼로 니지나네 먼로와다 레와레스고 다 먼로와다 레이스와다 띵이즈다 신게 니지나네 가르 랭그레스나 신게 와다 로와다 랭그레스로 간다 간다 들다 세 띵인지 원던 로아다 림바다 신게 원던 로아니 가르 링거스나 신게 원던 로아다 링그레스 대 링와 송자 때 가서 배 딘데 유비제스나 조 두스 자바레마도 지당가서 딘데 유비제다 바바가 자 초그레스 자 초그레데 담보라 자게 우진세데 오 두스신 렌제우와 담보다 세 담보니 제 가서 띵인지란 주바다 신게 원던 로아니 지린 통도 와도 담바이나 다 신게 원던 로아다 하장 진 링그레스 로아 So
the answers, so the answers in the text, it says, with the first and second mental states, the mind is in and out of concentration. In other words, the mind enters concentration and the mind doesn't enter concentration. But the latter is more prolonged. So the mind doesn't enter concentration is longer. So because of this reason, the first two mental abidings is said to have tight engagement. So when we say the mind is in and out of concentration, another way of saying this is the mind is affected by affected by laxity and excitement. So when we say the mind is out of concentration, means that it is distracted due to laxity and excitement. So the mind, which is distracted by laxity and excitement, is longer than the mind enters concentration or is in concentration.
Baba ngala tingizila neba de chirin. Baba ngasa ta baba ngadrwa. Ta baba ngala kasupena tingizenda kanda shingeni ke wando dini cheba shewdi ta kanda tingizila neba de tizi che rinwata rwa che rinwata de kanda shingila tingiziji chungze ba cheba yore shingila tingiziji chungze cheba yore de ina tingiziji shingila ba chebi tani de jugu mare yesi gor rwa di koda tresa mana
Yang sungro nang isla konda.
Baba ngala tingenzila nyeba de che ringa dadi lona koda tresa rwa Baba ngala tingenzila nyeba de kanda tizi renwa yore yes tingenzila nyeba da shingi wanda rwa nishina dat tingenzila nyeba de tizi ringa yes rwa de kanda shima ngala tingenzi 바치 타닌제 말해서 와데 신기라 띵엔지 중세 바 띵엔지라 신기지 바치 비 타닌제 그 말해서 들려고 그러데 지신나 저 바치 고단 tre서 말했죠.
맞주디 빼자 나로라디 로이죠.
맞주 체나로 여러와. 체나로 두시.
체나로 여래. 멜로메 이건도이죠.
맞이나 왔다 바방가 들러지데 다 바방가 띵엔지라 니바데 체링그레 이나 시마 간다 신기 원던 로아데 디지 통이 고레 다 들러전 디답 데서로와. 왔다 지차네 두시로와.
Yeah. So and then with the 5 intermediate ones, the mind abides far longer in concentration. Therefore, the latter and not the former has been labeled as having interrupted concentration. So, meaning that the middle 5 mental abidings. So, if we were to compare the concentration and distractions, the time the mind enters concentration, and the time while our mind is distracted due to laxity and excitement, our mind stays in concentration is longer than our mind distracted by laxity and excitement. So because of this reason, then the middle 5 mental abidings are said to have the interrupted engagement.
된다 전화도 고고되나 가서 바방가라 띵에지라 녀바 치르게 심말라 띵에지 바치비 타니제야 말에 나말라 타니 만제도 심말라 들어와 바치비 타니자 나말라 타니 만제도 어디 진도와 타니제야 다 디카도 스테보다 가서 다 간다 디니여레 가서 채널 여러와잖아 오다데 라리코르 카투니 치드르와 라리 카투기 치데레스 간다 가서 바방가라 도시 자고야 주세트
你当你的落本应该是了。
呀，点对啥是吧？当我说的我嘛的老学员，他拍新地巴在我说针对军的点个巴在拍新地巴你多啊，我的对嘛学员是吧？他针对军的点过来是他现在了，针对军的点过来，针对嘛对呢，他定义起了针对军的嘛点吧呢，他现在如头个嘛的，这个健身嘛学员是吧？
Yeah, so although the 2 sets are indeed the same in having tight engagement, the presence and absence of interruptions and engagement over times is what makes them distinct. Therefore, those 5 intermediate mental states are not considered as attentions that have a tight engagement. So as the compendium of the perfection says, say that we need to strive for meditative civilization.
Oh yeah. 당한 저대 발신 비발라 간다 디 송다 파파 파워로와 간다 년조 방아서 신이 둥게지 간자 난조 바 간디지나 당한서 준디 좀 바데 신이 두발라 띵인지 데 두발라 매주 주마치가 시작거래 다 신이 마토바다 간저 준디데 주마치바지 고그래 해서 로와 준디데 주마치바지 고그래 빼나 간저 양 준디지 양 나서 양 준디지 나서 뭐뭐 제바이나 대가서 신이도 두두고 말해세 대두마도 빼대 가서 주신 간다 신 매랭게 주신 요로 신데 신데베 주르모도스 다오데 란사메 렌토고도 와스 야 티지 다 상샤잖아 야 티지 다 상샤바이나 다 매렌토고 말와스 멤버도 대나시 작으레스 로와 다 띵인지 된디 신이데 토야치도 띵인지란 배송진에 두발라 주바 전디 추지 나시서와데 주대지 땡고레스 로와 전도 주된 주되나 때 띵인지 신의 토토그레스 토토그레 어 대낭신 가서 주신라 매도서 지다야 매서야 지다와시나 다 매len 두고 말레스 매빠 두고 말레스 다 대낭신 레스라고 그러와 다 띵인지 간다 신의 모토 받아 전도지 땅야 요 말레스 다 가서 훨씬 뒤로 지된다 너도 데려다 그러와 땅야 요 말에 다 배서 창샤나 배서 샤요 말레스 그래
So as the compendium of the perfection says, through uninterrupted yoga, strive for meditative stabilization, just as you will not get fire through friction if you take breaks again and again. The method of yoga is similar. Go on till you gain the distinctive state. So this compendium of the perfection is by Ayasura. So not only that we need to strive for meditative calm abiding, not only that we need to strive for calm abiding, we need to strive for calm abiding continuously until we develop calm abiding. So as it says here, through uninterrupted yoga, strive for meditative stabilization, just as you will not get fire through frictions. So when we want to get fire, with sticks and with frictions, then we need to do it continuously, right? So if you rub it on dry leaves, right? Dry leaves or woods, for example, then if you rub on it and then you rest, then you rub again, then you rest, then you will not get fire through frictions if you take breaks again and again. So we need to strive, not only that we need to strive for calm abiding, and we need to strive for it continuously until we develop calm abiding.
니마 카지스 치는 많이 봐 세러 봐 시라 마사바지 전도 시부 장자네 근데 뭐래 다 근데 지나야 뒤진지고요 말에 맞아 그냥 수보 강에게 따다 되고요 말에 좋아 수보 강에 따다 되고 말에 다 헬라스 치어서 뒤세 따다다단 쳐봐지 내가 저 전도 지나 니마래라 간다 치세지 니송 간디지 전도 저거나 근데 봐 주치네 지로와 양 창자나 니마 신가서 쳐 전도 맞아봐지 야 니마 지니서 빼 칼라사여메 두세 매바지 던지지 성이라 다 딘지고요 말해서 맞아 공도 가슴고마지 휴자이마 두시 당용세 지휴자로와 두시 당용세와 어떤 두시 당용지 구걸 맞아 두시 당용라고 구걸 두시 당용세와 맞아 주마체바 주된 지전들에 고여로와 어디지 고걸.
Yeah, so some people do that when they want to strive, when they strive for concentration, or when they strive for calm abidings, then they put in a lot of effort in few days doing concentration practice, and do not eat on time and do not even eat at the right, do not eat at all. Then you just feel for a few days, then you put a lot of effort in cultivating concentrations. Then you after a few days, then you rest. And then you do it again. So if you do like that, you will not you will not cultivate concentration in this way. So even your body will your physical health will be affected, and your physical health will be affected, and this is not the right way to do that as well. So when we cultivate concentrations, then we, like for example, if we set a time, like for example 1 hour or 2 hours, then you do this every day, daily, and by doing this continuously, then one can achieve concentration or calm abiding. So that's why previously we talk about equanimities, then we talk about equanimity in applications, right? So this is what it means by equanimity in applications. When we apply efforts, then we need to apply continuously and in an equal manner.
dawa chizal pe ta khala sayame tuse mewache tendi chine ta pe lojong shubo chija segore ta lojong shubo chine ta mambo chingwa sheba chige ta changa newa chasare tendi maje space di pe dawa chizal phache hala ko ngone tane shubo chine khala sayame tuse tendi mewache ne lojong chesa logdo ta korangi gen dege 게이디 다 던디 마지에스 다 게이디 오 다코 금발 파치 시라 차사 말이 다 파치 다 카히 마도 코 데위 말이 다 노르라세 에 게이디
Kabalogire,
금발을 마디 대노 그러라세 다 파치 대노 사레스코
Komane
코로체 다
Tare,
파치 대노 그래서 다 코페 다코 쇼지 제군도 왔어 다 던디 제나 시단 파투고 말레스 라우제 때와에네테 다 싱아 제라 콘도 사시데 딘데 들어서 다 싱아 다 로조 쿵제 토야 말 간다 답에 당분이 쉬부지 서자 그때 대 랑사 카도 누야게 요 말와 오 든디지네 디가 말다 또 뭐에 냈었다 뭐에 냈을 든디 차 로지 여러와
So regarding this, I would like to share with you a story that really happened in Tibet, in Sera monasteries. So there is I say someone someone I know of. Then he was a monk, and then then he put in a lot of effort in studies, in studying Dharma, to the extent that he did not have time to eat food for a month long. So then his teachers and other senior also told him that you shouldn't do that. If you do like that, you will become you will fall sick, and then this is not the right way to do that. Then he didn't listen, and then after 4 or 5 months later, then he really left the monastery.
오 든디지 당가서 전디 치우 진기 땜바세 다데 개체히도 차고 당가서 신이 두발라 전디 진딘지 땜고레세 다 신이 마체 가서 노조 간디 지바나 전디 진지 땜고레 치우 진 보바나지 땜고레세 다 베데레와 다 된다 대치 차바지와
Yeah, so this equanimity in applications, so not only that it applies to cultivations of cultivating come abiding, it also applies to Dhamma studies as well. So we need to study continuously and in an equal manner.
당가서 데인다 다 선방가서 신이 두다 마두 상템바다 신이 라틴에 다 랑드스 찌템바 체바도 이제 템베 랑드스 템바 사지송 다 데나롱가서 간다 신이 두다 마두게 상사데라 다 응지 템템바 이제다 템바 로와 도제다 제바 다 담보 응지 템달라 간다 시장 조바 토마토지고네 신이 토마토 템바 시장 조바 토니 신이 루루 템바세 다 데나랑가서 사지 담보도 시장 조바 토마토지고네 신이 토마토도 템바스 디마슈야이와 사지 담보티
So we come to the outline, the measure for the accomplishment of shamatha through meditation. This has 3 points, indicating the dividing line between accomplishing and not accomplishing shamatha, indicating how to traverse the path in reliance on shamatha generally, and indicating how to traverse the mundane path in particular. Indicating the dividing line between accomplishing and not accomplishing shamatha, this again has 2 points. First, the main topic, and second, the signs of possessing attentions and eliminations of doubts. So first, I would like to talk about the main topic. This has again 2 points, indicating whether shamatha has been achieved based on whether pliancy has been completely achieved, and the way shamatha is accomplished once pliancy has been achieved. That's all.
다 간다 신의 토마토 템바자 다 딜라 도바지를 도보로와 아무데 도바도 마시에 도바도 가는 거 그래서나 다 나서 세고바 신기 처모다 자와 그러와 세고바데 간다 신기 처모 자와 티르모 종뉴리 에스와 티르모 종뉴리 에스 때때야 진시 진대도 템벤베做了 못템바 춘주든 주비다 띵이지 토바이나 다 신의 토그래가 도 말에 신의 토바이나 미스다데 주었던 거 도바 그러와 다데 주었던 거도 간다 나 시티네 고바 신기 처모다 자와 티르모 종뉴리에세 들어와 대종을 맞지 내 된다고도 진시 진대도 때문에 배조라 뭐때발 힌두든 주투고래 띵인지 터나 다시네 토그래가 토고 말이에서 다 좋아야 되려와
Then there is a qualms here. There is a qualm or questions, or someone might have these doubts. So that the doubt is, has shamatha been achieved when you can maintain the 9th mental state, free from subtle laxity and excitement throughout prolonged meditation sessions as explained above, and when you attain concentration that operates spontaneously, independent of the effort of continuously applying mindfulness and vigilance? So independence of the effort of continuously applying mindfulness and vigilance also means that without depending on the efforts of continuously applying mindfulness and vigilance. So this doubt is about, so if you have already if you achieve the 9 mental states, which is free from subtle laxity and excitement, where you can, in which you can stay for, your mind can stay in meditation for a long time, and then your mind enters concentration spontaneously without depending on the effort of continuously applying mindfulness and vigilance. So at that point, when you're on that stage, so has that person attained shamatha already or not? So this is the question.
That thing is the Tobala Kanda, Hijam Toba, the Nisi, Hijam Matona, Hini Jinti Bares, Hina Hijam Matobica, Hini Jinti Bares, Hininge Mares, the lady, Ejua. Kanda, the Hijam Tomato, New, Hijam Mato, because that Hini Jinti Bares, Takanda Hijam Mato, Hini Jinti Baso, Sene Gobakas. Wa, Sene Goba de Casa, the meeting is the Kanda Hini Jinti Bajimato, Hini Toyo Marwa. Hijam Kanda Hijam Tomato, Kanda Hini Jinti Bajimato. So then the
answer is to this question is, when this concentration has been achieved, referring to the 9th mental state, there is a twofold division based on whether pliancy has been achieved or not. So if pliancy has not been achieved, so when you're on the 9th mental state, and if pliancy has not been achieved, then it is a similitude of shamatha rather than the actual shamatha. So at that point of time, when you're on 9th mental state, and if you have not if you have not achieved pliancy, then your concentration is a similitude of shamatha. In other words, it is an approximate shamatha or approximate calm abiding rather than the actual shamatha. And then it follows with the scriptural source to support or to prove this point.
That Kanda Dendi said the Tona, Hijan, Matoba Kanda Shini, Gentipachi raise that they do my Gundrig Lunde Mason Udua, Gundrig Lunde, that's Sanji Jumde, the Chanju sympathy, you see the same Mibala, say Roa, say la Mipi Nando Dibala, Nando, Yila Jibana, that Lishindo Jamba, say Shindo Jamba, Matobado, Matoba de Pado, that Yila Jiba, Matoba the thing in the carriers, that thing in the Kanda, and this Uda. 다 샹바스 마송고 간다 산지그로 샹바스 대신에 말이 했을 간다 때 마토바도 간다 세나도 디피팅이지데 대신에 말이 했 가르에스나 신이지 제스 팀비 매바다 춤바데 바제 바샤 고데
hello 계실라 강이 자가 야보 민도 계실라
야 고데 hello 고데다 니 야보 고데 hello
we can hear both of you.
Hello?
Can you hear me? Oh, then my connection is unstable. Yeah.
I can hear you. I can hear Kishla as well.
It's not stable. Yeah.
여보 거기데.
야, 당연히 자기가 야보 민도 계실라 공다.
알레 다다 오슬레소.
나 오슬레소.
야야. 다 간다 야자 루리데마 군데기 전화도 송우도와 다 도도도 다 간다 상지 장바 신데니 신 간다 시장 모토비까지 된디 띵게지데 다 신의 말에스 신이지 제좀 티비 매바다 춤바데바 제바샤 신이다 진진바레스 다 양자 가서 상지기마 너 군데르마 루지디 송우도와 이 주세마 오데 다 제르보제 간다 루지디 가바니마 구거스나 군데기 너 델마 송우어 간다 제르보지로와
That's all. So in the Unraveling the Intent Sutra, so it's a scriptures, and then Jeremy quoted this scripture as proof to support this point. So the Unraveling the Intent Sutra says, Blessed One, what is that attention called when the Bodhisattva directs his attention inward, his mind observing the mind before physical pliancy and mental pliancy have been achieved? So, and then Blessed One replied, Maitreya, it is not shamatha. So the question is it a shamatha? Is it a calm abiding or not? So the answer is, it is not shamatha, it should be described as a type of attention that is similar to shamatha. So instead of being the actual shamatha, it is an approximate shamatha or approximate calm abiding or a similitude of shamatha.
다들 간당한 저 신이 도야게 제대다 간다 도지마 대송도와 로와 단 도지마 제르무치게 다들 간다 신이 토비 간다데 상도마 송도와 도디지로와 단 도디지 갈스나 덴디 띵인지 데 공바라로와 다들라 공바 야보 신이 데 리키자다 신신자데 체 토바이나 다 일라시다 일라시바서 가서 간데 신이라 공공도와 다 일라시바 간다데 토노고레스 일라시바데 토고레스로와 간다 덴디 띵에서 될라 공부 야부 집이 또지 될래 리시장다 신신자 대 토네 내 간다 신이 토고레스 신이 토고레면 간다 신이 토발라 리시장다 신신자 대 마토바도 신이 토고 말레스 다디마 간다 도디 지금마 디 다운워드 다 간다 지르 부치로와.
So again, Rinpoche quoted ornament for the Mahayana Sutras to support this point. He says, since it is habitual, there is no application, then his body and mind attain extreme overwhelming plancy. Afterward, he is said to have attention. So since it is habitual or it has habituated with the concentration, then there is no applications of effort. So then his body and mind attain plancy. So when then afterwards, then he is said to have attention. And attention here, as it says in the text, attention here means shamatha or refer to calm abiding. So until you develop physical and mental pliancy, your concentration or your attention is not called shamatha or calm abiding. So what is it called? It is an approximate shamatha, calm abiding. So the attainment of physical and mental pliancy is the dividing line. So whether your concentration is a calm abiding or not, it depends on whether you have developed physical and mental pliancies or not.
Oh, de. 다 간다 데 제르모치 간다 도디지 자와 cham방금부 롱데 마자데 당우도 고리 바바 까말라실라로와 까말라실 마자데 당우도 다 데월마 ngomboludji 간다 히시명아시 디마 자데 당우도와 다 ngomboludji 스나로와 다 가가 히시명아레 간다 다 간다 텐다데 디랑레샤 히시명아레 스야데 간다 chanju심바 니엠발라 로와 니엠발라 때 간다 띵인지 고네 때 띵인지 고네 간다 다 리히잖아 세힌자데 마지지 봐도 때 간다 신이 진디 빠지래 마도 때 신이라 자고 말이스 로와 신이 진디 빠지레스 때 간다 때 텐디 리히잖아 세힌자게 텐디기 대와서 토네 때 토네 때 간다 신이지 토고래 때 신이 토비 상탈레 간다 때 마토지 봐도 신이 토고 말다 신이 토발라 때 리히잖아 세힌자데 냐바 토고래스 다데 데오 히시 명을 소나 된다 대가로와 정말 루시 끼고 요로와.
So not only the ornament for the Mahayana Sutra by Maitreya is quoted here. So also the second stages of meditation by Kamalashila is also quoted here. And also instructions on the perfection of wisdom by Protector Nagarjuna. It says, here the Bodhisattva dwelling alone in seclusion should attend to his intended object. He should eliminate his mental conversations and attend many times to the mind itself as it appears, until physical and mental pliancy arise. It is a mental attention that approximates shamatha. After they have arisen, it is shamatha. So before physical and mental pliancy arise, that concentration or that mental attention is called an approximate shamatha, or it is a similitude of shamatha. So after physical and mental pliancy arise, then your concentration is called a shamatha, or calm abiding.
다 희장 마투공의 띵인지데 다 네비시디 에레스 로안 데비시디 비디지데 네비시디다 단 데바 냥샤게 사바마지 단 데바랑 가서 나지시디 데바 냥샤게 사바 마레스로 데바랑 냥샤게 사바지 계시 시고요 말 냥샤게 사바스는 가서 나지 지지초에 단에데 칸 고만래야 자고로와 고만래야 자고로 데바 냥바 샤게 사바 로와
신이세 derivation.
다 간다 신이 토나 마도로와 신이 마투비 띵인지 요로와 데데 간다 칸 고마다 뇌바디는 가르기 세 디그리에서 뇌바 세 디그리에 데비시디리에서 다 간다 된다데 카툴레 간다 세니 고바네 세니 고바 띵인지와 세니 고바 띵인지 때다 고미시디레 간 데비시디리에서 고 데비시디리에서 로와 데비시디레 고미시디 마리에서 로와 단 뇌바 냥샤게 사바지 티치고요 말에 다 시장 마지고 띵인지 강게 되시나 데 원리보다 단 데비시디리에서는 다디 카투스 정도와 데비시디리에서 된다와데 뇌바 냥샤게 간 마자비 세니 고바데 세제지바다 여장 냥바 마자비 사리에서 단 뇌바라 냥샤게 사바지 기시고요 말 이요마스고 냥샤게 사바지 기시고요 말 다데 냥샤게 사바 먼저비 준세데 가르스나 뇌바 메바다 가와다 대와초 시장지 마두비 준세지레 사잉이시를 두서 송장 두스로와 사잉이시를 두서 송장 두서 다지르 무지데 마자텐 당고도와 사잉이시를 다가 송자리다 냥바 마자비 사바레스 대인비 준세데 간 뇌바 냥바 마자비 사바 뇌바 냥바 샤비 사야 먼저비 준세데다 뇌바라 냥자게 사바 누구 말이에스 대 먼저비 준세데 뇌바 메바다 가딘 초다 시장 마두바 준세지 그래서 사잉이시를 송장 두서 다지르 무지데 소와로와
Yeah, as it says in the text, now which realm does concentration fall within before pliancy is attained? So concentration before pliancy, it refers to like for example the ninth mental abiding. So which realm does ninth mental abiding fall within the before pliancy is attained? So it falls within the desire realm. So that means ninth mental abiding falls within the desire realm, or you can say that in other words it is included in the desire realm, concentration in desire realm. So although it has such single-pointedness of mind, then it is a state of non-equipoise and is not posited as the state of equipoise. So it is a state of non-equipoise. So it is not posited as a state of equipoise, because as it says in the level of yogic practice, is its accomplishment. Is the accomplishment of nine mental abiding is not achieved with non-regret, supreme joyful bliss, and pliancy. Because of this reason, so the ninth mental abiding is not achieved with this. Therefore, this ninth mental abiding is included in the desire realm, not a state of equipoise.
다 내신 집이 띵인지도 내신 집이 띵인데 스스니 고바들와 다 간다 근데 띵인지 되니까 난 내신 집이 이미 띵인지나 간다 시장 마토나 전바 진도 냐마 마띵바이나 세모토바 띵인지라페 매밀 힘도 니그리 해서 그러와 간다 세데 로와 띵인지데 간다 넘버 모토비 세 집이 띵인지라 간다 매밀 힘도 니그리 인디페 로차난도 그저 판제다 자 두구레인데 두구레 해서 우리 두바다 나오니 땅간다 띵게지데 근데세 제집에 띵게지레 마도 신행에 말해세 신행에 말해세 간다 된다디 두도와 어데 간다 데세 제집에 띵게지데 간다 띵게지라 반냥바샤네 빼 간다 매밀 힌두도 된디 세 가지 냥바디나 디 투야 된디지레 차디 그래서 된디지 차디 그래데 이나 신행에 말해서 신행에 말해서 어다 신행에 많이 버지데 간다 대에 가서 간다 시장 신행에들라 시장지 대와 토바관지 마디보다 제로마 주제 카시여마 제일 시주바지 로와 어띵인지 간다 시장 뭐요이 시장 세지 토고다데 제일 마시고로와
Yeah, so thus before pliancy is attained, there is a concentration that does not rely on constant mindfulness, in which the mind goes into non-conceptuality of its own accord, and that appears as though it could be combined with any physical activities, walking, moving around, lying down, and sitting. So this concentration is called single-pointed mind of the desire realm, and it is not an actual shamatha or calm abiding. So yeah, so before pliancy is attained. So before pliancy is attained, even though we can concentrate, our mind enters concentration without relying on constant mindfulness, and then in which the mind goes into non-conceptuality of its own accord. On accord means that our mind engage the objects of concentration. Our mind enters concentration effortlessly and spontaneously. So, and then even though it appears as though it can combine with physical activities. And however, this concentration is called single-pointed mind of the desirium. So single-pointed mind of desirium, or concentration, which is a single-pointedness in the desirium. So this concentration is not an actual shamatha. So one of the reason is one hasn't achieved an immovable appliance.
당한도 데리다 당한도 시장대 월마 다 님바 간다 내려와 신장에 송아 들어와 신장에 송아 데리 다 신장에 송아 시장 토루데 전자 신이 대토네 신에서 로루 전자리에서 다들 막 좋아지게 거대 들어와 다들 좋아서 망아서 시장 모두 막 간지스 다들 막 무슨 제거를 좋았던 거로 다들 레도 막 제시고와
그래서 이 미요의 신장이나 당 신장이나 제 개발 요나이죠.
젤레고라다 매워도 젤레고 진짜 시장 토바터 좀 가서 매워 시장에 토시고 말해.
그래서 So regarding the immovable pliancy, so there is a difference between pliancy and immovable pliancy as well. So regarding the difference between these two, I will cover it later. So then in the text it says the way shamatha is accomplished once pliancy has been achieved. So how then is pliancy achieved? So now we are going to identify what pliancy is. So we first start with a question or doubt or qualm.
다 시장에 로와 간디 녀석은 다 시장에 와들 군딜에 소장도 오세로와 군딜에 마스터 지르무지 막 군딜 롱도 장으로와 시장 공원 간디 송거는 다 군딜에 간다 리더 신지 닝엘레지 주지비 리더 신레스로와 with dimba tanjisi lejes rowa dimba tanjisi lejes dadu ma jina gundi gi chiri de rowa dadu ma ngaso longde ma tab debo chi jel ma shugo rowa amo gundi gi de shego rowa longde.
And then follow with another question. Once it is achieved, how does one proceed to shamatha? So this is what the compendium of Abhidhamma says with respect to pliancy. So referring to the first question. So what is pliancy? It is the suppleness of the body and the mind from having cut the continuity of negative physical and mental tendencies. Its function is to eliminate all obstructions. So suppleness of the body and the mind, in other words, is physical and mental serviceability. I repeat, suppleness of the body and the mind, in other words, is physical and mental serviceability. So from having cut the continuity of negative physical and mental tendencies, in other words, is physical and mental negative tendencies.
아간다 제rumbo치게데 군디기 롱데게 말롱데 시고도와 다 제rum보치게 가서 군디기 롱데게 단다 데리에스 마송거래 다 간디 송거르스나 단다 군디기 롱데게 다 리세지 닝엘레나 리세게 샤왈라 쳬탄데르도 고도 머루아 데리에스 닝엘레와데 로와 군디리 소아데 리세지 닝엘레스 와드로와 리세지 닝엘레다 간디 데리에스나 리세게 샤왈라 쳬탄데르도 고도 머루아 데리에스 고도 머루아데 고도 머루아레 다 대이 nembola 다 리시자다 신시자나 다 리지 닝엘레 로와 리시지 닝엘레 다 트라이 다 리시게와 기 샤와라 고와라 신도 레스 로와 데레스 레스 로와 다 대이 nembo 시장 데레스 거다 로와 시장 대이 레스 다 시장다 토디 리시 기 샤와 쳬다 넨데도 고도 로와지 차고요로와 오디 다 디니 치와시고도 다 제르보 지금 막 군디기 롱디기 막 단다도 막 두시고도와
So after quoted compendium of Abhidhamma, Jerumuchi explained the meaning of the quotation. So negative physical and mental tendencies mean that the body and the mind are unfit to be employed for any virtuous activity at will. So body and the mind are unfit to be employed for any virtuous activities at will. In other words, is physical and mental unserviceability for any virtuous activities at will. So this body and the mind are unfit to be employed. In other words, is physical and mental unserviceability. So this is talking about what is negative tendency of body and mind. Then the antidote to this is physical and mental pliancy. And what is physical and mental pliancy? it is a consummate suppleness of body and mind for virtuous activities owing to a freedom from negative physical and mental tendencies. So consummate suppleness of body and mind, in other words, is physical and body serviceability for virtuous activities due to freedom from negative physical and mental tendencies. So physical pliancy is the lightness. So there is another word here also. So physical pliancy is the buoyancy. So physical pliancy is the buoyancy, and lightness that comes from being free from physical intractability. So in other words, for this intractability is unserviceability, physical unserviceability. So such as a sense of heaviness and so on, while trying to eliminate afflictions, which are negative physical tendencies included in the affliction category, and which prevent the joy of eliminating afflictions. So this is a physical pliancy. So this physical pliancy is a serviceability, physical serviceability, in which it has the buoyancy and lightness, these two features. So likewise, mental pliancy is for the mind to unobstructedly engage in the object, free from the inability. So again, inability can be translated as unserviceability. So inability or unserviceability to delight in directing the mind towards a virtuous object while trying to eliminate afflictions which are mental negative tendencies in the affliction category and which prevent the joy of eliminating afflictions. And so we talk about the physical pliancy here, right? So as it says in the text, physical pliancy is the lightness, buoyancy and lightness that comes from being free from physical interactability or unserviceability, such as a sense of heaviness and so on, while trying to eliminate afflictions which are negative physical tendencies included in the affliction category, and which prevent the joy of eliminating afflictions. So which is quite long. So in order to understand the nature of physical pliancy, so there is a shorter version, shorter versions of description to understand physical pliancy. So physical pliancy is by the power of concentration. By the power of concentration, one is free from the faults of physical unserviceability. The body becomes like a wood cotton, light and serviceable at will, serviceable for virtuous activities at will. So I repeat, a shorter version or a version that is easier to understand what physical pliancy is by the power of concentration, one is free from the faults of physical unserviceability. The body becomes like a wood cotton, light. So the body becomes light like a wood cotton, and serviceable for virtuous, becomes serviceable for virtuous activities at will. So I repeat, by the power of concentration, one is free from the faults of physical unserviceability. The body becomes light like a wood cotton and becomes serviceable for virtuous activities at will. So this is the nature of physical pliancy.
Don't deal with it. That Duduma, some of the Legion Reja Chi Yutonwachi. Likinang Reja Chi Yutonwa in the Senju Mila Hasor. Senju Maresor. That Ligian Reda. That Senju Mares. Tangasoma don't deal with it. Ligi Nang Reja, Likinang Reja Chi Yutonwachi. Reja Yutonwachi. Likinang Reja Yutonwachi in the Senju means what that kind of Madodo much share with the Ligian at Nijugor.
Lugi nangi rekja rwe. Lugi nangi nanglogi rekja rwa.
O nang reja. Ligi nang reja idongwa hinje senju mi segor.
Yeah. So if we further condense or summarize the nature of physical pliancy that I mentioned just now, it can be condensed to just like this. So it is a pleasant object of touch inside the body. It is not a mental factor. So this is the condensed versions of the nature of physical pliancy that I mentioned just now. So it is a pleasant object of touch inside the body, or in the body, or inside the body. It is not a mental factor.
That's thinking that condition so that say gay me pala toba me banjuchirwa. Say gay me pala toba me banjuji. Less roach be seju so say less roach be seju. Say gay me pala toba me banjuji less roach be seju. That the Mijila say he just would say gay me pala toba me banjuji less roach be seju. Or that the Mijila say he just would say gay me pala toba me banjuji. Less roach be seju. Or the Mijila say he just
So then the nature of mental pliancy is the mind engage in virtuous objects unobstructedly. It is a mental factor of serviceability. Yeah. So it is a mental factor of lerungi simjung reve la. Lerungi simjung. Lesurungi simjung.
Yes, roach be seju. Yes, roach be seju.
Lesurungi chebe simjung.
What the yes roach be seju.
That's all. Yeah. Yeah. So I repeat the nature of mental pliancy. So the mind engage in virtuous object unobstructedly. It is a mental factor that is serviceable. I repeat, the mind engage in virtuous object unobstructedly. It is a mental factor that is serviceable.
sen shinja tsewa de chalong tse nga tso pe mege sen shu tribu ka se gewa juji gi nang tse je sen shu shinja se ji yoa o dia rang re yoa nga tso pe ori tribu ka se lori tribu ka se sen shu gewa juji se shi gu yoa o gewa juji nang lo pe kanda sen shu shinja se ji yoa o shinja tsewa de le o gewa jiwa da di khadu lo de di da rang re se nga tso de sen shinja tsewa de da rang ko ko de la
Yeah. So previously, when we learned about awareness and knower, also we talk about the same 심중이 값을 라 로리 말어. That's all. Yeah, so previously, when we learned about mind and mental factors, we talk about 11 virtuous mental factors. One of it is pliancy, right? So this is the pliancy that we are talking about. That's all. Yeah, so the pliancy that we are talking about is exactly the same as the pliancy that is mentioned in the context of 11 virtuous mental factor.
rangi shawa nala dawa yawa kali shwas rwa disungu do liji nangi shawa nala dawa yawa kali shwas lili sunwa siwate di trich ko gres le disungu do.
So in the text it says, in accordance with that Master Stiramati says in his commentary on 30 verses, in this regard, suppleness of the body, physical serviceability, is the source of buoyancy and lightness in physical activities.
Deta dena mipala topa mipa juba dei sin les ruwase da kanda des lodi temba kutuma domji jine sungudwa kanda se gi shawala chitan dele do kudruwa de tenda do kaduba shiyan de garan ruwa se gi shawala chitan dele do kudruwa de.
So in this regard, suppleness of the body is a source of buoyancy and lightness in physical activities, and suppleness of the mind, in other words, is mental serviceability, which arises when engaging in pure attention. It is a different quality, a mental factor that is the cause of the mind becoming fresh and happy. When you are endowed with it, you engage in an object with no resistance or unobstructedly, which is why it is called suppleness of the mind or mental serviceability. So this is also a summarized version of what a physical and mental pliancy is.
Indona kanda Xijang Tona Nimu Pongala Zuan Deja as that ma don't Jewdwa. That and ma don't Jewdi Tandi Detavi Kanda Lisi Les Leru Yons Zopatia Kanda leader say Les what Yons Zopatia Rwa Tinginji Toma Nataneba and Chat Tomani Tenia in Uri as Kanda Tinginji Mata Toma Gombicane Rwa Yozoba Toma Gombicane that was a senior Tambuji Nekazina Wajirwa. Dene Sonia Gone, the Chichatamo, Dene Yarimba, get the Kanda, Tingi Yaji, go chill, then Takanda, the Tamakanda, since the Jibashini, Junugres, Roa, Tama, this is the Jibashini, Shinetologres, Roa, Tamtia, Tambo Chai, Rika, Yishina, Din, Rila, and Juan Nesal, and you want to answer Nesal, Sunjan, the Ose, that Dodo the Disundua. What that Tambo Toma Nibani, Chamonia, the Kanda Gone, Terimba, Gidia, this area, Kanda, Roa, Chichi, Jachir Sune. The Gana Tamada, the Gana to the Chinese toy to Sinugurese, yes, would it so that the Kanda Nesa is Sunjan to Usla.
이제요. 그래서 차 타모를 디 종화지야 디 신장 시기로 하지라.
我现在
유sem이 신장 데라.
我到理事以下的，刚才丁英姐，我理事以下丁英姐别吃超模的，理事以下的你个娘的来我哇，娘的来我的，我等这边从嘛的俺说都是呀，吃超模的你把张的，但丁英姐呢，俺说丁英姐，突突几年吧，等你也说呢，都要节我的也是我的，俺这样拖来个的是，但俺说西藏生活的这个，俺这西藏的拖下来，俺这别做忙不去去呢，这就是的呀，吃超模的别做这里呀的呢，这西藏拖过来是我的哇。
토마의 값수 셈리 담보의 값수 신장
어,
요에 계차로.
다 시장 그 가서 지역 그 주자라고 보더니야 레그시고로 와 시장 지역 가서 탑으로 보더.
Also. So in brief, if plan C is attained, the body and mind become easy to use. So easy to use or become easy to employ or become serviceable. So after having reversed the intractability of the body and mind, so intractability is also called unserviceability of the body and mind, in which a sense of resistance or reluctance makes it difficult to engage, like having to do an unpleasant work. So Saraka level says that such perfectly complete suppleness of the body and mind, physical and mental serviceability, arise in small portion from right when you first obtain concentration, and increases from there, eventually becoming plan C and single-pointed shamatha. So it means that when we first obtain concentration, so refers to the first mental abidings. So when we first attain mental abidings, then we have developed the cause to we are creating the cause. We are creating the cause to develop plan C after the ninth mental abiding. So as we develop higher and higher mental abidings, then this cause or the method to eventually become a plan C also is developed along the mental abidings, the stages of mental abidings.
다 디오라 가르스나 당가도 데르다 다 간다 시장 세시자다 리시냐 니기나네 다 토마 가르치에 그래 다 되니까 막 제당 시오로와 토마 가서 세시장 리시장서 니도와 세 리시장지 대화다 세시장지 대화서 니요래 다도 제가 시오다 안도 세시자다 리시장이 당부 가르쳐 그래서나 당부 세시자 돈에 대제서 때 리시장도 도그래 해서 그러와 세시자다 리시장이 당부 가르쳐 그래서 당부 세시자도 대제서 리시장 다 리시장지 대화다 세시자지 대화니 괜히 리시장지 대화다 세시자지 대화니 당부 가르쳐 그래서 당부 리시장지 대화도 더 대제서 세시자지 대화도 도그래 해서 그러와 다들 가서 막 토당 제일 마셔고와 당부 등에서 봐지.
So we talk about physical and mental plan C. So there is another term which is similar to this, is called bliss of physical plan C and bliss of mental plan C. So to first talk about physical and mental plan C. So between these two, which one arises first? So the one that arises first is mental plan C, then followed by physical plan C. So in terms of bliss, the bliss of plan C, the first one to arise is bliss of physical plan C, and then followed by bliss of mental plan C. So these two sets are different. Yeah? So one is just physical and mental plan C, another one is bliss of physical and mental plan C. So in terms of plan C itself, so which one arises first? The one that arises first is mental plan C, followed by physical plan C. So in terms of bliss of plan C, so between these two, which one arises first? The one that arises first is bliss of physical plan C, followed by bliss of mental plan C.
당가도 당보들다 다 시장 제바제 세신자제 인가디들와 당가서 세신자제 인가디 간디죠 그래서나 당가서 막 도도막 고대보지로와 세신자제 인가디데 다 띵인지 공발라 수시비 강사들와 다 띵인지 공발라 수시비 강사 되기 레바 쩨뱀바냥 셰바다브세 가서 에디게제 시고와 레바 쩨뱀바 냠 셰바다브데 띵디지 레바 쩨뱀바 Shiba Chite, Medi Joan Maise, that the thing also so under the Legri Segura, Lepa Chipemba Nashi. The Niji Legri, Pena Kandi, big conditions, try Yamatabi, that chance of touch that New Matanga, the Jata Parikita, Jaguar. Yamatabi, Gochi the Lapa Tao Ribi, Chipi de Yamji, the Nam Delegres and Loa, Yamata, the Lapa Tao Shavana, the Yamji Chigres. Then now the Jew de Kanda, say he just keeping not did the Lewa Kanda, say he just keeping not did the Roa. The Nigi, Denham Jigur, Denham, Dinam, you want to with the Nigi would has it. The Dinam de Jema Tato, the Nam de Jema Tato, the Kanda, Yamupuala Guy, Pachishi, Saint Ning in it, Tanu, yes. The Jew draw, the Nam the Jew de Dakanda, a de Jema to the Yamupuala Guy, Pachishi, Saint Ning in it, Joroa, Saint Ning in it. That seems to mean anything also. Siki shall just did the good Muruma Terwa, good Muruma Terwa. Oh, they seem to mean anything that Jawa, Jahi, then seeing in it, Jawdi, that day in Nebula, this thinking Jawas over the Jew, seeing in it, say he just the Jew is. Was not did the Laba, Sawa Yamat and what I read the day Yamchi, then Nashi, so much legally so Kanda. Didn't
在下巴当呢啲只啦，喇叭插播機呢啲過嚟下位呢啲啲地位飲之類嘅。
哦，地飲，地飲接電腦先至呢個嘢我同做，係嘛？地飲電啲呢個嘢，我得電啲呢個電腦就呢個啲，第個說，但講到接嘛，就但你冇講啦，佢把這些比甚至年嘅嚟做咯，但甚至年嘅嚟就賺到個嘢，甚至年嘅嚟就找的，甚至年嘅嚟說的幾少啦，就但你都過度冇用啊，對吧？Kudu Muruma, say Gisha, Lajudan, Kudu Muruma, dear Tani, this day nemo, this say Hinjan as what? The Jew is what? Or the Jew that Homa Jigas.
So, an early sign of the arising of such fully qualified and easily discernible pliancy is when the person striving to cultivate concentration experiences a feeling of heaviness at the top of the head, but not an uncomfortable heaviness. So now we are talking about the early sign that one is about to develop pliancy. So an early sign is when the person striving to cultivate concentration experiences a feeling of heaviness at the top of the head, but not an uncomfortable heaviness. So then the example is something like this. So when you shave your head, so as you might not shave your head before. So however, as it is common to monks that we need to shave our head. So when we shave our head, then with a warm hand or a warm palm or hot palm, you rub it and it become hot, right? So then you put on the head, then that is the kind of feeling. So but not an uncomfortable heaviness. So it is a kind of a pleasant feeling. So similar to these kinds of feeling when someone is on a shaved head, then someone with a hot palm and then put on his head. So then there is a kind of pleasant feeling or experience is there. So as soon as it arises, as soon as this kind of pleasant experience arises, then you are freed from negative mental tendencies. So these negative mental tendencies, in other words, is mental negative tendencies, right? So it's both of translations are available. So negative mental tendencies, and then one is free from these negative mental tendencies, and these negative mental tendencies, it causes one becomes unserviceable, causes one's mind become unserviceable for virtuous activities that obstruct the enjoyment of eliminating afflictions. So it obstructs one's liking for eliminating afflictions. So then one is free from these negative mental tendencies. Then that is the antidote to these negative tendencies, mental pliancy. So then mental pliancy arises. So it is about to arise. So now we're talking about an early sign. So if you have this kind of feeling, then when one is free from negative mental tendencies, then one or attain the mental pliancy. So one experiences a feeling of heaviness at the top of the head, right? And however, this kind of feeling of heaviness is not uncomfortable. So this one, I just want to make sure that it is not uncomfortable heaviness.
Oh, that tambo to the station the Jerwa. That station the Jevare, take us raw. That station the Jezadi, that station Jeba, take a say, less Roy, Hinja Jeba. That station the Jewdi, that say, a gay shawala, Chitan didn't the good ruin. That less Roy, Hinja the Jeba, less Roy, here the Jebarwa, say Hinja Jewdi, say gay shawala, Chitan didn't the good ruin, the Jebarwa, Jedruita, and the station the Jebarwa. Oh, that station Jibin Tola Tin yesterday. That same Hinja Jibin to tell a thing is that they can Jujin, which tell that kind of Lisha Jewala. Lisha Jewala, Saint Hinja Digi, Jujin Telatine, Jibin to Telatine, that Lisha Juji Belunde, and this Saint Hinja the Jew, the Lisha Juji Belunde, Palula Chabu, yes, Lisha Jegalunde, Roa, Saint Hinja the Jew, the in Tolatine, that kind of change the Lisha Juji Belunde, Palila Chabu, yes. Lila, Roa, Ligala Pachamugres. De Lila Chano de Liles Muru, Jeda Tani, Liles Muru, Jeda Pa, Tani, the Lisha Jewes. Roa, that the Jada, say he just digging Tolatine, Charles one, say he just Jiba in Tolatine, that Lisha Jujubi, Lisha Jiagi Ju Lunde, Roa, then the Lunde, Lila Pachabu, Lila Chani, the Digi, Les Muru, Jeda Patani, the Lisha Jewes.
Yeah. So then in reliance upon the force of the pliancy of mental suppleness, then that has arisen, and the winds that produce physical pliancy circulate within the body. When those winds circulate in your body parts and pervade them, you are free from negative physical tendencies, and physical pliancy, which is the antidote to negative tendencies, arises. So we talk about the sequence of pliancy, sequence of arising. Sequence that pliancy arises. So we talk about mental pliancy arises first, then followed by mental pliancy first, then followed by physical pliancy. So after we talk about here, it talks about the arising of mental pliancy, right? The early sign, and then after that, when one becomes free of negative mental tendencies, then one develop mental pliancy. Then, in reliance upon the force of the pliancy of mental suppleness or pliancy of mental serviceability that has arisen. So let's say one has already free from the negative tendencies, then one has already developed a mental pliancy. So in reliance on this mental pliancy or the pliancy of mental serviceability, then the winds that produce physical pliancy. So the winds is the cause to produce physical pliancy. So it sounds like it shows the cause and conditions, cause and effect kind of a relationship between this physical and mental pliancy. So in reliance on mental pliancy, it shows the cause and conditions, then physical pliancy arises. So the cause, the winds that produce physical pliancy circulate within the body, pervades the body, and then when the winds pervades them, then you are free from negative physical tendencies or physical negative tendency, and physical pliancy, which is the antidote to the physical negative tendencies, arises. So that means one has already developed the physical pliancy. So it shows the sequence for the pliancy to arise. First, mental pliancy arises, followed by physical pliancy.
리지 닝일레다 자우데 데 리기 샤와라 간다 체나메바 지단 덴데 도 꾸니바 데 꾸니바 신바 이양이 리시자 지그레저랑 간다로와 신기 배나지 신배나지 데 간다 양시로와 양이 리시장의 제로고래 해서 가다 들어와 리시장은 아주 힘배 나신 봐 힘배 나신 양이 때때 시장의 제로고래 해서 간다 어디 제로고래 해서 다 간다 리시장 세시자 될라티네 제소아 리시장의 세시자 될라티네 제로 간다.
So physical pliancy arises in dependence on mental pliancies. So by the power of mental pliancy, the wind that produces physical pliancy circulate and pervades the body. One is free from physical negative tendency. Body become serviceable for virtuous activities and light like and wood cotton. So the body becomes serviceable for virtuous activities and become light. How's the weight? They become lightweight like the wood cotton.
아동원에서 다 리시장의 제오도 당아서 리시장의 대화의 제아도 당원에 초와도 같이 따등어서 가도 따는 고 대본하고 쇼저데 리시장 때 리신바나시 때 양화다 대화 쇼지레오데 드리지레오데 리라 대화지 레그로와 리시장 때 하장의 양화다 때 대화 리 양보시 제오로와 때 양보다 때 간리 털배 하장 지고 뭐이바 양화 드리지레오데 때 덴리 양화들 때네 리라 대화지 레오레스 로와 대화시 대화지 레그로와 델라티네 내가나 레자 신도 대화 드리지 레오데 때 리시장지 대화스 대제오다 나 리시장 되게 리그 대화다 따다 안 되고 내가 중간에서 산즈나 소소페 수고 양화다 빼 기부 쇼지문나 때 리라 대화 소화 대화지 레오로와 와 대화시 다 리시장 델라티네 리지 대화다 맞아 생기자다 리시장지 대화니는 담보 리지 대화되는 쪽을 라임바 시장니는 생기자 담보지 다 리시장 델라티네 리 양화다 빼 남아나시 빼 양화다 리지 저 많이 봤던 리지 레벨이 때 대화다 따다 내고 리지 대화다 다 리시장지 대화다 제소아.
Yeah, so after the physical pliancy arises, then when we are talking about this physical pliancy, so it is a physical lightness, right? So we feel the kind of lightness in our physical body. So in dependence on this lightness or the physical pliancy, then we somehow feel the pleasant feeling. Somehow we feel very pleasant in our mind, feel very pleasant in our bodies, right? So sometimes when when we wake up, then we are fully rested, and when we wake up, then we feel our body is very light, right? Full of energy, become light, and then you feel a kind of a pleasant feeling in your bodies, right? Yeah, so a comfort type of a feeling or a pleasant type of feeling in your body, and then that comfort and pleasant kinds of feeling or feelings that experience in your body or experience in your body is the pliancy of physical, is the bliss of physical pliancy. Sorry. So when independence on this physical pliancy, which is a physical lightness, then you develop or you experience a comfort type of feeling or pleasant kind of feeling in your body. And that comfort or a pleasant kinds of feeling in your body is the bliss of physical pliancy.
신바나기 양화든지 가서 빼샤와이나 가서 빼 렌장보 지페로와 렌장보지 소수 수불라 츠레와이나 이 레와이나 데 대와지 리브로와 대와 냠시 레자테 레자 장와 텔라 냥왈 테네 소수 대와지 리 대와지 따다 리소 대와지 리브로와 다 대나실로 그래 로와 리 시장 양화 장와 딘디지 텔라 티네 리라 대남지 제고레스 로와 리라 대냠 데 대냠데 제고데 리지 리시장지 대와스 텔레고
Yeah, so even if you can, check this for yourself. So this physical pliancy is something like this. So the lightness, like a wood cotton. So this lightness we can experience it by, a very smooth piece of cloth, made with a very good material. Then a very smooth and light piece of cloth, then you put on your hand or put on your body, then you can feel this you can feel the experience. You can feel the lightness of the object of touch, and then this light, because of this lightness of the object of touch on your body, then your body experience a kind of a comfort or a pleasant kinds of feeling, or comfortable kind of feeling, and then that is the feelings that we are talking about here is similar to this kind of experience.
接着，咱老是离西江去，离西江得了跟离西江去对话的，大当真说啊，他离西江去对话得了定的，他谁西江去对话的，大来头的，人头的，看你这哈国是呢，离了变了对话手机来的，这谁了搞啊来不了，谁了搞啊他多就来不了，这上手机来不了，被离了离错了对话，离了被跟你对话娘全部就来的，这第一多就谁了搞啊来不了，看他，谁了搞啊对话去，这大上来不了。 当说대화你就那当不离西江去대화等于来今年第一就是谁西江去대화介绍대화军事대화弄的，对，离了被人家给대화的，你忘了点呢，这谁来搞啊？대화去离个人是，这谁西江去대화是得头。
So in terms of bliss of pliancy, the bliss of physical pliancy arises first, right? So. And how the bliss of physical pliancy arises, as I mentioned just now. So, so in dependence on the bliss of physical pliancy, then the bliss of mental pliancy arises. So, in dependence on the bliss of physical pliancy, bliss of mental pliancy arises. Just like when our body is in a very comfortable state, then we feel happy, right? So it's as easy as that. As easy to understand as that. So when our body is feels very comfortable, then we in our mind then we feel happy, right? So this also shows that how the bliss of physical pliancy arises first, and then followed by bliss of mental pliancy.
他等你讲的，他历史西江去对话，他西个介绍什么？他西个介绍比国家来讲说，现在考虑托啥的为什么？他单独对这托要嘛的现在。 他的上当不大，他我说，离西江的新西江你个托出来，当不新西江我那都第一就是离西江托的，离西江去对话托的，第一就是新西江去对话托啥说啊？他新西江去对话的了的是，个定的了的，他娘就么新了还讲被搞学不教他，新么年嘛头发那些被，所以要加的不着些，搞的对话的了的跟你去抢个人是吧？新搞呀我的，新搞呀我的，新的米巴了嘛年嘛头发那。 我嘎达那不行，那嘎达那我就等你去背，先嘛你把那年嘛头把那去背，是看上呢是说背，学不几不搞不了的，背哪点嘛都学了搞完了，人家跟他去超很多啊，我背等你那不就那个人是我看到，先嘎呀我背还讲的嘎呀我的背修全部就了的，先的你把那年嘛头往那不行，可是你给家背说先那嘎多学结果了，给家现在安全嘛我等你有的，背嘎呀先嘎他记账呢，可都给家现在嘛我等你去。 我等你这个人是我，那等你去告诉我说，心里的托谁要嘛的，等你去告诉，
心里的托要嘛的话，得就个是。
我第一个是心里的托要嘛的，单独给谁个炸的过，谁要炸的，刚才第一个是。
So we talk about four things here: physical pliancy, mental pliancy, bliss of physical pliancy, bliss of mental pliancy. And then we talk about the sequence for these four to arise. So first, mental pliancy arises, followed by physical pliancy. Then bliss of physical pliancy arises first, followed by bliss of mental pliancy. So when we are at this point, does one has already developed come abiding or not? Not yet. Still not yet. So why is it not yet? Is because when the bliss of mental pliancy arises, one's mind become too happy. So your mind becomes very excited, become very pleasant or happy. So at that point of time, your mind has already uplifted. So as if your mind cannot stay on the object of observation. So an example to describe this is like when you're too excited, when you're very happy, when someone say to you something and you hear it but you don't understand what you didn't even hear it. Yeah. So when you're too happy, then when someone says something to you, then you cannot even hear what he or she is saying to you. So it's something. This example describes how the bliss of when the bliss of mental pliancy arises, that your mind as if cannot stays on the objects of observations. So your mind at that point is uplifted too much.
Say Gaya wa Hacha Gaya wa Tikas, say Yape, Chashing because that in a Susu Mipala Taro Nico, say the Mipala Terani, that see Mipala Teraro Nini, that is Shijanji Gaya wa Gaya, Ben Tota, the Machu Sanima Nino, Tangachu Sanima, Manjamadoch. Roa, Sans Hachan say Gaya wa Jura, the Matu Undo, Laganda.
Rangxingye.
Or Rangi, that's Susu Mipatero de Roa. That day, this is Matisse, they were the Machun door. The Chun Swan. That tunes one the Kanda Nipa tunes and a Dikija Marima tunes Gaya or the Ma, this man Jan Dore, Ma say the tail door, and say the Matin door, June San Suade, and I say the Matis Mania to the say the Temple door. That's saying the Matembo dropping on it. They say me Bala Matembo Dodi, they Tembo Dori Casa, they Kanda Shijan Moyoa Toba, I said, they Matembo and Dodi, they Shijan, one day Shijan Moyoa Toba, Shijan Moyoa, you are never. That Shijan Moyoa, the Niji Todori. That did a Tinyamdo, that's Shine Tonore, Shine Tobada, Sante Tamine Toba, Shine Toba, Sante Tamine Toba, Gonju Lotoba, Gonsi Sheba Toba, she, that Tinyan to Tonori.
The Tambo de Shine Niba de something Tambo Niedo, Sumba de
Niedo, that Gonju Lotoba, Gonju Lotos and other real Gonju Lo, Jeda Gomba Sanji Gonju Lo, Louis Mari, Gonju Lotoba. Gonsi Sheba, come for me, Gonsi Sheba, or Commissi di Sheba.
Come Koma.
Come Commissi di Sheba. Commissi di Sheba Tonore as a word. What that is you conduct and that you teach you a Tonore.
Come Satuba
Sheba, or that Consi di Sheba, come Commissi di Sheba, that she need that humble, that conduct Sunday and Santa Minedo Mujomet story. Is a tolerant to Consi Sheba Tonore.
Come Sai to be Sheba. Somebody Shiba de Tunyamro.
Oh,
that's all. So at that point of time, your mind is too excited, or your mind has uplifted too much. So as if that your mind cannot stay on the objects of observations, right? So your mind is still on the objects of observations. It's just that your mind becomes too excited or too uplifted. So then after a while, then that the happy feeling, too excited, right? So the happy feeling then slightly decrease, or then your mind becomes stable again. So you're too excited, then your mind the happy feeling degenerates or reduce, then your mind becomes stable again. So at that point of time, then one has really developed pliancy, or one has developed the immovable pliancy. So when one develops immovable pliancy, or the actual pliancy, at the same time one achieves calm abiding, one achieves the preparatory stage of first concentration, and at the same time one also attains the mind arisen from meditation, and at the same time one has developed the consciousness that is included in the heart, in the upper realm. One has developed the Kanko side do a Sheba de Kiva Rebegisla.
Commissi Sheba Toba, the Toba.
Sheba de Toba.
No, Commissi Sheba Toba.
Yeah, so one has
the Commissi Sheba to the Neto Tondoroa. Then Neto Sandy or Sandy Commissi di Neto, the Chineka Commissi di Chawara.
Yeah, so one has achieved the consciousness that is included in upper realm. So basically, it also refers to the preparatory stage of first concentration. So these four are achieved simultaneously: the achievement of calm abiding, preparatory stage of first concentration, mind arisen from meditation, and consciousness that is included in upper realm. So after achieving these achievements of calm abiding is indispensable for achieving a mundane path or achieve a supramundane path. So it shows how important it is to achieve calm abiding, because it is indispensable for achieving mundane path and supramundane path. Yeah, so for spaciousness, and everyone here has already achieved calm abiding. Yeah. So all of us have already achieved the actual calm abiding shamatha. Na 공다 텐데 시도
신이 마토바 나 베뉴도 토야 체당 토 심바스야 공패디안 도야 체도 도스 추지 상황 당시 들어와 땡디 체데 다른 가서 신이 토바서 데카서 땡디 체데 상황이 당시 들어와
Yeah, so for auspiciousness, so at this point in the text, so for auspiciousness, then it's good to take some time to think about this, that if one has already achieved calm abiding, so may it increase more and more. If one has not achieved calm abiding, may we quickly achieve calm abiding. So develop such aspirational prayers. So develop such aspirations in your mind. So take some time to think about this.
오야 투체나 다 저런데 좋아한다고 요 다들이 데 샤는로와 다 좋아한다고 전에디 좋아했다.
So I will stop here. If you have any questions, you can ask now.
Sheila, Caroline here.
Yeah.
I'm very curious for those who have attained the calm abiding. If let's say after some time they don't have the time to meditate, it is reversible. That means they will lose it. And if someone who has attained calm abiding, at which stage it is irreversible? Is it during the path of meditation? Something like that. Thank you.
So, also kisla anju shine thoba dero shine thoba ina yang anju kazandi mutu ne dem gom ma gyawa ina yang nyamyagi ning hayo ro. Ine yang di anju yang pena chashana gomlam gi badu gomlam de thoba ina ine di shine thoba de yang nyam kaza yang kaza ma nyam기를 ves. 냠 마투바 텐데 자기 나스
차데 춘
냠 마투베 사데 가왈레버리스
이거 파빌랑 토잖아 콜라세와데 파빌랑로와 토자 파빌랑 토자는 자원이 냠토고 말해
이니 통람이나 데 조람이나
토고 말해 조람 소토는 냠토고 말해
조람데 토와이나 냠토고 말해
토고 냠토고 말해
소람이나 이절라 데레나 대한 계산 대한 사 가와라 레니
소나 담보 가서 가서 마냥도 여러와 아티바 침볼이야 샤그나 소나 담보 토니야 마냥도 여러와 이 냥도 데 대신에 냥도 여러와
이니 데솔
야 천원 리제 알레단다 냠투고 말해서
그래서 신의 된 냠기 말아.
너무 말해
디 솔람 딩레 와이나.
리제 토바이나
그래서
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 천원 리야 토비가라 세제이나 가서 스텝다 베시지 말해 사다 베시지 오다 드리지 빼셔다 테마서
대답이 생제.
대만 냠투고 말해서 그래 다 천원 리야 토잖아 대만 냠니 마 미기 지와 요 말해서 그래 지와님 요 말해서 그만 냠니
Yeah, so when when we attain a calm abiding, if we do not continue to meditate, then there is a we will lose the calm abiding, lose the calm abiding. So when we attain path of meditations, then definitely we will not lose calm abiding, even path of seeing, even path of preparation as well. If one has achieved path of preparations, one will not lose calm abiding as well. So then if one is on the path of accumulation, if one is on the beginning part of the path of preparations, then if we do not continue to do meditations, then there is a danger that we will lose the calm abiding. So unless we reach the middle part of path of accumulation, then we will not lose the calm abiding again. So until then, if we are still at the beginning part of the path of accumulation, there is a danger that we will lose it if we do not continue to meditate.
Sorry, I forgot to mention this. Thank you very much. I forgot to mention this. So during the stage like ordinary beings who have achieved calm abiding, beginning like that lah. So each time they do a sitting concentration, that means meditation, will this physical and mental pliancy arise each time during meditation? Thank you.
그래서 계실라. 수수 신의 톱에 수수 깨워지나. 애니 데 무튼에 데 공개하러. 애니 데 따바 데 공개하가 라 루스 기기를 베스.
알세
아주 신의 톱에 수수 깨워지나. 애니 대한 공개하가 라. 애니 데 루생 변화체잖아 대링 데 공개와이나 데 루생이 신장 데 기기로. 대기기나 애니 대한 상인 데 참샤제 상인양 무튼에 공개하기요나. 애니 데 상인의 루생기 신장 데 양가 기기를 베스.
그렇지 되도 요라 신이 냠면은 요요
튠 제제 라인이 돼야 가서 대 루셈이 신장 대한 연기어로
요요 다 되가서 신이 마냥 사들이 요요래
that's all, yeah. So yeah, if one has already achieved calm abiding, then every time you do meditations, one will this physical and mental pliancy will arise.
나지 가서 내가 내가 탕치바 나시 들이랑서 탕치고 말이지 신이 터자디 소소 내가 나지베 소소 지다 내가 지레디 야 상다 수고 지고 차고 때 내가 랜드 마도 든디 요한지도 와 당외 신이 터자디 든디 요한 거로 요 말이 배 하정에 배 소소 배리 신바 나시 배 양와 배 게이 샤와지 가리지 두구나 소소 가와다 쪼와 시비지고 가소 시비지고 배 가소 지고
저는 말리 바이나 양단 레라보 델레 말이
알세
디 가서 탕 수보 지고 차보다 아니 디 탕쳐기 초와디 자원 낼레기 말이
신이 옆에까지 들리고 말이 들리베 지고 차보 빼 개월은 주 먼저 봐 지오라 주 먼저 봐다 내가 제대 맞대 봐시 이 샤원데 칸데지난 너네 맞대 봐서 왔더니 이외야 말이 맞아 칸데진다 그나서 칸데데 알아서 랑시지 가와다 도와리 그래
Yeah, so if one has already achieved calm abiding, so one will not feel the physical heaviness. So if one hasn't achieved calm abiding, so when we want to do something, then we feel the physical the heaviness in our body, right? So if one has already achieved calm abiding, then you will not feel the heaviness in your body anymore. Then sometimes when you want to do some virtuous activities, then you have some unwillingness in your mind, right? So, and then you will not have this unwillingness in your mind anymore after you have achieved calm abiding. So, like for example, if one wants to recite prayers or even sadhana, sometimes you feel unwilling to do so, right? So, however, you will not have this unwillingness in your mind anymore if one has already developed calm abiding. And what naturally you will feel, very happy and feel very how's it pleasant to recite the prayers.
下边呢，我做新的党部，没有的党部独立个嘞，联络跟年部是协会联络协会有啊，我联络跟年部是协会的，这里告诉我做联络的年部的局了，建的头了，西夏头的联络多少个了啊？联络多少个的？联络多少的联络我做记录比联络是我们忙不协会有啊，记录比联络是话的，我做被那个搞的那被截图嘛的，截图嘛你图嘛的，是真的有啊。我打等的嘛一般，你给背下来，你强子上你，他妈经常来学记嘛，去把学我是呢，他妈今天他是呢，那个做朗上来这个人们，那记上你那个记，那你那个记是等你老嘛的时候，记老嘛的，朗上他做到来讲的时候，他妈来讲的时候。
Yeah, so late, saying late, 진짜 late 되러.
상이 타만 진짜 쇼 패쇼 was나 앞에 가가 쪼쪼가 랑사 앞에 가 또 지자 그래서 랑사 뭐다 지 내가 지요 니요 파칭 악타 친구도 깔래 가고 있어 들려고 말했어 나카 친구도 깔래 가고 들려고 말했어.
Yeah, so when one achieve come abiding already, then as this come abide, when one achieve come abiding, and then this is the antidotes to laziness, right? So we have developed the antidotes to laziness, and then laziness is eliminated. So then previously we also talked about a few types of laziness, right? One of which is laziness of low self-esteem. So laziness of low self-esteem is, for example, that I say, I cannot do this. How could I achieve that? It is impossible for me to do that. So if one has already developed, achieved calm abiding, then you will not have this laziness of low self-esteem anymore. So, for example, if I say, tomorrow we are going to have class, then I say, if you have already developed calm abiding, then you will not say that, oh, tomorrow, very tired lah. Then tomorrow I have work to do. I already plan to do something else. Then you will not have such thoughts, and you will not say that, and naturally you will feel very happy and very pleasant to come for the class if you have already developed calm abiding.
Thank you. That didn't share you.
或者现代呢，这就话有啥来就来讲的，现代你样就话有啥来干嘛？
干嘛行动呀？
那说yeah, and whoever raise your hand first, you would like to ask a question.
Melissa?
Yeah, Geshe-la, I want to ask, when you say physical lightness, right, is it the same as, when they do meditation? Some people have this physical lightness where, their body can actually lift. So is it
actually
the same?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it the same as what the text is referring to?
他说，其实啦，说的女可是女新疆人。对啊，说你女嘅养活的我哋写嘅咯，
对，
女嘅养活的写嘅的，你找位呢？咪卡些嘅讲教育噶啦，养书包的我呢，第3年的牙顶吧，顶土吧，女嘅可是养活的写嘅呢，我呢第3年的。
3年教吧讲起嘛的，说的什么？去这个了，把你还讲被上部的养活的，现在被离了电话这头呢，离了电话这头个等你被养不超过是，俺说趟钱嘛去吧，趟嘛去吧，干嘞嘛看吧，我的等你离过是，俺说离西乡是吧？
你呀3年的牙胶啊，等你嘛咯，因为你这样杀了嘛，吐吧的不？
等你的给吃嘛咯，
南卡拉顶吧的不？顶嘛咯？
等你的给吃嘛的，等你的给吃嘛的被，他说被还讲被养活。就是广巴几见到吧？喏，别叔个别俺那张呢，别叔让了一嘛去不是那别趟钱买吧，别广巴结果呢，别养包是别来了几件了，等你别钱干里面吧，等你去，你哪去超过噻
？Yes, when we talk about physical lightness, is that it doesn't refer to, when someone do meditations that he can actually lift, lift, and then his body is not stay on the body anymore. Let's stay on the ground. It's not like it doesn't refer to that. So when we talk about physical lightness, is when a person is going to do meditations, for example, going to do meditations, then you do not feel your physical body do not feel tired, and then every step you take to the meditation site, then every step is very light. So you feel like there's no tiredness in your physical body. So that is what physical lightness is about. Yes. Is there any more question?
I guess. I have two questions. So first one is, if let's say one has difficulty trying to attain to achieve calm abiding, right? Is there any like specific workshop or classes that can help certain individuals or groups to maybe to correct them in terms of the techniques? And then my second question would be, there was a mention about the wind that produce physical pliancy. I came across such words when I was reading up on tantra. Is that related to it? If yes, does Geshe-la mind shedding a bit more color? What is this so-called wind that was mentioned in the text just now? Thank you.
years ini dia jawab tambo de sini top kau ada enzo sini top kau kangsa ada enzo nganzo pena saja nganzo ini dia nganzo di sini di top kau yore ini yang mixi ge jinja dabo ina di kasa gap jinja dabo ina nganzo ge gom gap tang de tata yo me ini di shuda tang ge jinja den de yo nas
jinja la imbe
jinja dabo ini di sabjong dawo yang mi 공격 요래 ni di sini di top 가wo 요래 ini 공속이 공격 당대 따다 요매 슈다 당야게 진짜 sabjong 된데 요나스 된데 초기 요나스
근데 지난 가서 단다 미식은 진짜 그 수요마데 내가 저다 진짜 나는 가서 좋아 다야다 소소 외에서 공백가라 소소를 강에 가는 요원도 야 공제야라 간디 요원도 뜻은 가서 좋아 다는 리그레스 로아 뜻은 좋아 다는 신앙 가서 리그레스 당가서 단다 미식이 든든 진짜 처하는 가서 야 뒤쳐라고 못와 맞아 뒤쳐라고 못도 데 나는 저 소소기 든디 공제비가라 야 소소기 미파 정다래 야 신기다 봐 든디 카테자 당are 다 든디 간디 용고도나 야 가서 버를 돌린 제초그레스 데 좋아 당래지나
Yeah, so regarding your first questions, there's no time for us to, there's no time to organize a different class or a special class just to correct everyone's the techniques of doing meditations. However, when you do meditations, whatever difficulties or problems you face, such as how to suppress calm abiding and how to suppress laxity and excitement, how to sustain on objects of how to sustain longer on objects of observations, then if you have questions or problems about this, then you can on and off ask the questions in class when we have question and answer sessions. Then you can on and off ask the questions in our class in question and answer part. So the juani ba de tangkin dia kaza de long sobola de capte ini de lugi Xinjiang ge dewa de legi oro di tanda di long kang Xinjiang ge dewa de xia de nga dan dewa yo nas ini de nga dan dewa yo me ini de yang di gi xin nang ru nas
지난 가서 롱 주당 쓰라 가서 되고 요다 용거 좋아 지난 가서 나가는 가서 다 지다 자오마다 로마정 가서 같이 롱 주당 지난 되고 요 용거래 가서 신이 써와서 때 나는 주발라 신에 대 인지 민지 간다 신이 두고 좋아 신이 두고 신이 맞나 나가 또 받지면 된다고 그랬다 인디가 용다 용거래스
그래서 이네 되고라 기바 시기 나이인가
아때 미세기 제거요 말해서 단다 가서 나가긴도 미세 제거요 말이 지단 가서 농지다도 서든 가서 지단 되와도 요거래스
That's all. Yeah. So when just now we talk about wind pervades the body and then it produces bliss and etc. So it is related to tantra. So and in order to develop realization in tantric practice, then one must develop calm abiding. So without the achievement of calm abiding, then one is one cannot develop realization in tantric practice. So when we talk about wind, then we also talk about channels and etc. So they are related. So however, we do not have time. Now is not the right right time to talk about tantra. Yeah. So if one has already achieved karma abiding before entering tantric practice, then when we practice tantra, then there is no need to specifically achieve karma abiding anymore, because one has already achieved karma abiding. So if one has not achieved karma abiding and one enter tantric vehicle, then one still has to specifically develop karma abiding in tantric practice. Without the achievement of karma abiding, if we do not do that, if we do not achieve karma abiding, even if you practice tantra, you will not develop realization.
Yeah, did that basic program in the voice chawere then zebo the ngaso that jeda ngaso chama de petuna yaboyore 가르스는 ngaso basic program 지부 든든진 zebo chaw요 말에 땡 ngaso 자질라마 서버는 뭐지 까디 제대 chaw요랬어 이제 산 zebo데 럼보치 까디 제대 chaw요래 까디 제대 zebo 첨부지 chaw요래 예선자들 장마 강투도 마투도 petuna yabo요랬어.
Yeah, so tomorrow we are going to have LDC open house, right? So it's also a very important event for the basic programs that we organize here in LDC. So I encourage all of you to attend the event physically. So because this the basic program and also organizing basic programs here in LDC is all due to the great kindness of Geshe Lama Zopa Rinpoche. So in order to remember the great kindness of Geshe Lama Zopa Rinpoche, tomorrow is a very special event.
petuna da yabo yores kawa 당어서 내와 연주 강가 당어서 타림보 드서디나 다 인도네시아 다 오스트레일리아 다 타림보 코로나지나 다 간당 가서 신다 파스 타림보 여바이나 당어서 군나로 배두고 와 어디 도스체 야보 여res와.
So previously we organized an event to commemorate the great kindness of Rinpoche, right, or Tsongkhapa, Lama Tsongkhapa. So then this tomorrow event, LDC open house open house is also a special event to commemorate the great kindness of Geshe Lama Zopa Rinpoche. That's why I encourage all of you to attend physically. Then, and as for those who are not in Malaysia, like for example, we have friends from Indonesia and we have friends from Australia as well. So even though you're unable to attend physically, so I would still encourage you to attend through Zoom.
Yeah,
so I'll stop here and then see you tomorrow.
우선 장고 정보 초고집이 딘지 진지 담바사쇼 거는 수 땜바던 도이 집구세 힘든 세번에 쇼군데 제바도 다른데나 거딜하고죠 자질라마 서버는 뭐 두고요 সময় 요스는 땜바던 도이 양신 주민 여다 배하다 다가는 자리 이두 끌나간다 시대파 이마다 만두다 니양 좀 마요 단 중앙시 네바 마요 오 시대요 대시 봉화치 제인스.
We conclude with dedication. We dedicate these roots of virtue to to the flourishing of Buddha Dharma and to the excellent happiness of all sentient beings. We also dedicate these roots of virtue to all upholders of Buddha's teaching, mainly His Holiness the Dalai Lama, to live eons long, excellent health, and may all their holy wishes and enlightened activities be accomplished instantaneously and be spread in all directions. We also dedicate these roots of virtue specifically to our beloved teacher, Kapsha Lama Zopa Rinpoche. May all Rinpoche's holy wishes be accomplished instantaneously, and may the unmistaken reincarnations of Rinpoche be swiftly returned and continue to turn the wheel of Dharma for the sake of teachings and sentient beings, so that we will have the opportunity to receive the precious teachings from you again, Rinpoche. And we also dedicate these roots of virtue to the world peace, and may excellent happiness prevail in the world. May wars, conflict, pandemic, disaster, and natural disaster that are caused by 4 elements be pacified immediately.
Dāke jīne zābi gīwānde tēngā kāmbē dā chēpā jīsē nō dā tēmbē nīmbō rīndō sē jī shō chāngchō sēnchō rīmbō jē mā jē pā nā jī chū jī jē bā nyāmbā wūnyē kūntō pē wā shō njāmbē pā yē chē tāng chēmbā dā kūntō sāmbō tēyā tēngē tē tē dā kūng jē shī gīwānde dā tāng jē rā tō ngō tōng nye dā wā rīmbō jē mā jē pā nā jī chū jī jē bā nyāmbā Wunye kondang pewa shio rini tawa rinpo je ma je pana chi ju ji je ba nyamba. Wunye kondang pewa shio tongni ninje sundong ju be la che je zang de kang ju den de ge chana pe mo ting zi suwa de zo yen de rindu shio nje den kang den pen de ma li ba kang len ju ye sang pe yi ge na ka jin sun de ting zi suwa de zo tu yen rindu shio da me ten ba jia se ne rang zo lo zang jia hua yan se ji ba jia rang jia kin ye jia yo ma li ba ten de me bang ju be ge le 有所作别土地人国这些到周边这些别忘了，那样没有这边国家就从没接这老毛是完的，偏偏嘛民族也过去，家也点到嘛就州啊，也点到几多真把这边个老不去啊，现在闻到秋收将在现在的这些那就土地老毛就那点别样的上边的改造的，一边的有些就刚才说也可以，偏到电话嘛，邻居也呢，接着说电子讲这些小别身体保护天主的。